لا إله إلا الله.
Say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. God is great. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. God is great.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah's peace and blessings be on each and every one of you. I'd like to welcome you, dear viewers, to another in our series, The Best in Islam. In this series, as you all know, we are looking at what Allah and His Messenger, what the Quran and the Sunnah had to define for us as the best. The best in Muslim actions, Islamic principles, human beings, events from our day-to-day lives. In whatever sphere, Allah and His Messenger have spoken about what is best, leaving certain principles behind which would guide us in our day-to-day lives. What we'll be looking at in this episode is what is best in terms of the nights. What is the best night? I'm sure you all have an idea, but we have from Surah Al-Qadr, the 97th chapter, verse 3, Allah's statement, Laylatul Qadri khayrun min alfi shahr. The worship in the night of decree, Laylatul Qadr, is better than 1,000 months of worship. This night is a special night which Allah has given additional value. We know good deeds are normally increased in their value by 10 times. And on other occasion, for other different good deeds, Allah can increase that as He wishes. It's not limited to 10, but at least it's worth 10 times its value. In the case of worship, in that night, in Ramadan, among the last 10 nights of Ramadan, the odd nights in particular, worship in that night is worth the worship of 1,000 months. That's more than the average lifetime. So what is being encouraged here is night worship, worshiping in the night. Because the night prayer, the voluntary night prayer known as tahajjud, is, after the obligatory prayers, the prayer with the greatest reward. That prayer which is done after we have slept, we wake up before the morning prayer, we get up and pray at that time, formal prayers, complete those prayers with what is known as witr, or the odd unit, 1 unit of prayer, or 3 or 5. That nighttime prayer, tahajjud, is the greatest prayer after the obligatory prayers. Why? Why is that night prayer so special? Because it is the prayer which is free from any aspects of showing off. It's just you getting up in the night. No one else knows. It's just between you and Allah. That makes our intention pure for prayer, because it's not unusual that one, while praying during the daytime around others, etc., one is conscious that others are looking at them in worship. And it may affect our worship in one way or another. But that nighttime prayer, it's just you and God. There's no chance for feelings of pride and things like that to come in. There's no place for it. Nobody knows. Of course, after you finish praying in the morning, you tell everybody, well, listen, I prayed last night, and okay, yes, you can destroy the reward for that prayer. But the prayer by itself is the greatest prayer after the obligatory prayers. So, in the month of Ramadan, we are encouraged to pray that nighttime prayer throughout the month. It's done together. Commonly it's called Taraweeh. But really it is Tahajjud. That's what it is. Outside of Ramadan, it's just called Tahajjud. They call it in Ramadan Taraweeh. But it's one and the same thing. So we're encouraged, especially in the last 10 nights, because people may be neglectful and leave the Taraweeh in the first 20 nights. At least in the last 10, we're encouraged now to make the effort to at least do the last 10 nights as Tahajjud in congregation. At home, outside of Ramadan, we may do it individually or do it in congregation. It's not an obligation to do it in congregation. But the point here is that when we do this night prayer in congregation, it is supposed to motivate us and encourage us to be able to do it outside of Ramadan. That's the idea, that outside of Ramadan for the rest of the year, we do engage in it from time to time at least, as much as we can. We should be praying some night prayers. Now, some people might say, well, actually, it's only the last odd nights, because the Prophet, may God's peace and blessing be upon him, has told us to seek it in the odd nights. This is when it is likely to occur. The 21st, the 23rd, 25th, 27th, 29th. And there are some narrations which indicated that it was the 27th. It may have been the 27th on one occasion, but it was not the 27th on all occasions. Because we know that the Prophet, may God's peace and blessing be upon him, had said that Allah had told him when the night was. And he had wanted to convey that to the Ummah, for us to know exactly when that night was, so we could all catch it. But when he came from his house with the intention of going to inform it to people, he found some Muslims engaged in argumentation, and Allah caused him to forget it. So we know from that very authentic narration that the exact night is unknown. How to figure out which night it is known only to Allah. And it's quite possible that, as scholars have said, that the night may vary from year to year. It's one of the odd nights. And if we consider the fact that there are enough times when Ramadan has been miscalculated, we started one day early or we started one day late. And if we start one day early or one day late, then the 21st will become the 20th, or it will become the 22nd. It will not be an odd night anymore. So anytime we go into Ramadan, those dates that we have fixed can change. By the end of Ramadan, we'll find out that what we thought was the 27th was really the 26th or the 28th. So really, in the last 10, we should strive our utmost to do all of them. We should strive our utmost to pray all of those last 10, since we're not certain which one it may be, whether it is in fact the odd or it is actually an even number. So the best thing, the safest thing to do in Ramadan is to pray those last 10. Make sure you catch every last night. And that is encouragement because of the great reward for all of us to engage in it. But ultimately, it is encouragement to bring tahajjud back into our lives. That tahajjud be a part and parcel of our day-to-day lives. Bring it back in once a week, once a month, whatever. If we can bring it in and establish it, as we said before, quoting the Prophet, may God's peace and blessing be upon him, wherein he said that the deeds most beloved to Allah are the ones which are done consistently, regularly, even if they are small. So at least try once a month or once a week to do tahajjud. And doing it with your family is a good thing. Gather your family together and do it all together. That's quite, we could say it's not only permissible, it's from the Sunnah. Prophet Muhammad, may God's peace and blessing be upon him, depending on which house he was in, of his wives, he would wake up the wives and the children to pray along with him in the night. Often, not necessarily every night. Some nights he would get up himself, they would wake up themselves and join him. Other nights he would sleep. He didn't do it every single night. He prayed some nights, and some nights he slept. So we need to bring back tahajjud into our lives. And this is the encouragement for us to do so. And Ramadan is the time to reestablish it. With that, we're going to take now a brief break, and we'll be continuing to look at the best in Islam after the break.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Islamic Online University presents you with the golden opportunity to study the various branches of Islamic studies from the comforts of your home. Now, you get to study at your own time schedule and at a pace that suits you best. IOU is the brainchild of Dr. Bilal Philips, who envisioned an institution that would offer undergraduate and postgraduate courses online and completely tuition-free.
Choose from the widest range of programs that you can ever imagine. Bachelor's in Islamic Studies, Intensive Arabic Program, Global Quran Memorization Program, Bridge to Master's in Islamic Studies, Bachelor's, Certificate, and Diploma in Psychology, Education, Islamic Finance, Business Administration, and Information Technology, and the Crown, Master's in Islamic Studies.
Our syllabus is based on the bachelor's degree program of Madinah University, Durman Islamic University, Al-Azhar University, and other reputable Islamic institutions. Your journey to acquire Islamic knowledge is just a click away. IOU is globally accredited. Islamic Online University, changing the nation through education. Register now and get started. Visit www.iou.edu.gm for more details.